Good evening, everyone. It is Monday, April 17th, 2023. It is the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I am your host, as always, Adam Martin, and I'm joined by my co-host here Monday evenings, Mr. Big Marcel. Marcel, how's it going, man? I just realized, I'm saying 2023. Dude, we've been doing this together for, I want to say 2 or 3 years now. It's probably the third year, right? I think now at this point, right?
Yeah, it's a long time, and I don't know exactly when we started. Yeah.
I think I was in my 20s when we started.
Yeah, me too, probably. If you were in your 20s, I was in my 20s.
No, I'm just joking. No, when I actually started the podcast, yeah, I think so. But, I mean, I had, Cole used to be my host back in the day. And
you did 3 shows, right?
I used to do 5. When I started, I was doing 5, the first year. That was 2019. Yeah, I guess, and then COVID happened, right? And then they cut everything back. But yeah, we're here. We got our boy Glenn in the chat. What's up, Glenn? We got Antoine. What's up, Antoine? Yeah, it was a good card. We're going to talk about it. What's up, Crazy Duck? He's your boy, Marcel. So we'll talk about UFC Fight Night, Allen, or Holloway and Allen. And good card. We'll get into that. We'll also recap PFL card. There was one this weekend as well. And then finally, I think that would be it for this podcast. And then we'll do another one. We're going to preview UFC Vegas 71 Blades Pavlovich. Actually, it's Pavlovich Blades. Honestly, we'll talk about that later, but I don't really know why Pavlovich is ranked above Blades. That doesn't make sense to me. It's very disrespectful for a guy who's been in the UFC for longer, who has way more wins, in my opinion, Marcel. So I don't know what you think.
We're probably also going to look a little bit forward to Bellator.
And Bellator as well. There's 2 Bellator cards this weekend. There's no PFL. I think the first half of the season's done. So no PFL. But yeah, let's get into this card, Marcel. Like I said, UFC Kansas City, guys.
As Max Holloway would say, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into it. All right, Marcel. So, I mean, honestly, I felt like it was kind of a tough card, to pick fights. I didn't have my best night. Main event, Max Holloway defeats Arnold Allen by decision. Again, I picked Allen, and it was kind of like an upside guess, right? I wasn't the only one who picked him. A lot of people did. I looked at the staff picks, they picked him. A few other guys did, so it wasn't just me. I think it was 5-2 for Allen. I think you picked Holloway, or you picked Allen.
I picked Holloway. Yeah,
okay,
Holloway.
So it was Anyways, more guys had Allen, so I wasn't alone in this. I thought he looked good, but Holloway looked even better, obviously. And Marcel, I don't think this was a hard fight to score. I picked Allen. I had him as one of my bets. You're biased as shit if you picked Allen to win this fight. If you scored him to win the fight. And there's a very prominent journalist that had a scorecard for Arnold Allen. I just don't see that. You're trying really hard to give a guy a win he doesn't deserve. I really like Arnold Allen, Marcel. I do think he's one of the better featherweights, but he didn't win more than 2 rounds at most. 5th round, although the stats actually have Holloway landing him, he landed the far superior shots, except for the last maybe 10 seconds. But I definitely thought he won that round. I think the 2nd round was the other one that was pretty close that a lot of people gave it to him. And then the 4th round as well. It's kind of close. But for me, Marcel, honestly, I thought Holloway probably won the first 4 rounds. And I gave Allen only the last. I had 49-46 for Holloway. Again, when I watch these fights, I'm trying to watch it as unbiased as I can. I don't care. At that point, once your bet's in, once your pick's in, it doesn't really matter. Because I score for Allen, I'm going to be arguing, or because I picked Allen, I'm going to argue that he won the fight. Why would I do that?
Not many people who do.
Exactly. It's actually really stupid. You have to be unbiased when you watch this shit. And not shit. It's a great fight. I definitely thought Holloway won the fight, man. I don't think this was a hard fight to score, Marcel. Again, Allen did well in that 5th round. He did well to stay in the fight for 5 rounds, but look at the strike numbers, 147-76. And I understand it's round by round, but Max literally outlanded him every single round. I don't Ariel. Think about it. Ariel's the most prominent journalist in the sport, and he scored it for Allen. That's kind of scary, Marcel, in a way, because a lot of people look up to him and look at his scorecards and will agree with the guy. There's just no way. There's just no way he won this fight. And he wasn't the only one. I mean, there's a few other people, but I'm pretty sure I made decisions. Was it a clean sweep for
clean sweep for Holloway on MMA decisions?
How did Ariel have it for Allen? Tell me why. Why did he have it for him?
I don't know. I didn't have it for Allen, so I can tell you.
I just don't see how can you give Allen 3 rounds. How can you do that?
Yeah, I gave him 1, and I gave him round 2. So that's
2 was the toss up for me. I was watching with my friend, and I was I'm not sure. But I still thought Holloway maybe edged it. But again,
I mean,
either way, the right guy won the fight. I'm glad that happened. At least it could have been worse.
For me,
two of the judges actually had it 49-46. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
For me, it was like Max clear 1, clear 3, and clear 4. I gave him 5 as well, but that wasn't clear in my opinion. And second one wasn't also clear, but I gave that one to Allen. I thought Allen did a little bit more from an optical way of watching, right? Not looking at the stats. So. Man, I pick Holloway for the simple reason because for me, and it sounds really bad, but Arnold Allen was still unproven to me in the UFC against top contenders. And the thing is, like, many people is like, yeah, but he has a 10-fight win streak in the UFC, only lost to Maciej Rozak outside the UFC and Cage Warriors, I think. But the thing was, like, in the UFC, he had a very smart way into the rankings, a very smart way, like a step up, a step up, a step up. And the thing was, the fight against Calvin Kattar, he looked good in that, but Calvin Kattar got injured. So I couldn't really read something of that fight. So that in my mind was like, Allen he's a good prospect. I like what I see from him, But can he do the same against Max Holloway? And I got to give him credit. He went 5 rounds with Max Holloway. He never was out of the fight. He was losing, but he was never out of the fight.
He never really even got, like, rocked or
no.
hurt. You just got outstruck. Only the last, got outstruck. That's it.
Last 3 seconds maybe. Because
they didn't actually count that as a knockdown. I'm not sure. Like, maybe it was. I don't know. I haven't looked back at it. But, go ahead. Sorry.
But, I mean, he did well against Max, in my opinion, if you compare it to what others did before, you know what I mean? So for me, it's like, it's not really a loss on Allen. It's more like he convinced me more that he is in the right spot where he is, you know what I mean? And I wasn't sure before, and like I said, it sounds weird because he was in 10-fight win streak, but he didn't have that marquee win, you know what I mean? And he had that win against Kattar, but it was via injury, so didn't really feel good, in my opinion. And the thing is, Allen, I would have been surprised if he won, definitely not. But I felt safer by picking Holloway because we know how Holloway can fight. And to be really honest, Holloway only lost at featherweight recently against Volkanovski 3 times, And the last one I think before was against Conor, but that's...
he also lost Dennis Bermudez, but that was a bullshit decision. I actually went back and looked at my scorecards from 2012, I want to say. Yeah. He won that fight. The one that he shouldn't have won, which is ironic, is the Leonard Garcia fight back in 2012. He actually should have lost that fight, which is crazy. Or 2013, excuse me. I think it was 2015. But go ahead.
It's crazy. It's probably when I still didn't have facial hair, you know what I mean? So that's how long it's ago. So, I mean, for Holloway, listen, man, I heard Holloway was interested in the Zombie fight and Zombie was interested in Holloway. Personally, I'm not really, I like Zombie against Barboza, for example, more, but I mean, Holloway, where is he? I mean, I was talking in Dutch podcasts with the other guys, and dude, he's in no man's land pretty much. Jair is going to fight Volkanovski, and people are like, yeah, but what if Jair wins? Yeah, then Volkanovski get a rematch. So then Max still waiting, So he really has to take. So he's pretty much in Robert Whittaker territory right now. You know what I mean? He has to take on another contender with no way of getting closer to a title shot anyhow, because you don't see Max getting a 4th one. And that's a sucky thing that he didn't win that second fight, which I thought he won. That would have been 2-1, and it was.
I thought he won the second fight with Volk too.
Yeah, that was easier maybe for him to get a 4th fight, but now it wasn't. So for him, it's hoping that Volkanovski leaves the division and goes to 155. That's the only thing he can hope.
I agree. I mean, I agree with everything you just said. I don't mind this Korean Zombie fight. I mean, his only recent losses to the champ too, right? Isn't it? Like, I know Volk beat the shit out of him, but like he beats up a lot of people. Actually, again, he beat up Max pretty good in their last fight. You heard of that. Let me just check Jung's recent record. Yeah, he's okay. So he beat Dan Ige before that. Looked great in that fight. Lost to Ortega. He's actually won 3 of his last 5 fights. He barely fights. That's the thing with Zombie. Like, he fights once a year now. I think it's a good fight. It's like a Legends fight, in my opinion. Again, like, Max is the one who said he wanted the fight. It's not like it's fans saying it. Max is like, I want this fight. We've never fought. We're both like OGs from the division, and it's crazy we never fought. And I was thinking, like, man, this is kind of crazy. But then I remembered, like, there was like 4 years where Korean Zombie was out for the military service, right? So that's why that fight never happened. I think that's a good fight to make. The other fight would be Giga. They could do that fight, Marcel. I know he's coming off a loss, but he's still in the top 10. Both those guys are available right now. And the other option, Marcel, and I don't know if this is the fight to make, but Brian Ortega is also out there, and like they did have a rematch fight, but Yeah, I don't know. I think a fresh fight makes more sense. The other thing, they could build up a guy like Yusuf if they want to give him a push potentially. That would be the other thing.
The winner of Mitchell against Evloev, right?
They could. I mean, I don't mind these fights. I'm just saying, if Max wants Korean Zombie, give him what he wants. He deserves what he wants. Max should call his own shot.
Adam, listen, man, I'm just a little bitch here. I came up with a TKZ against Barboza fight. Now I want to see that one, man. That's a fun one.
They could do Barboza and Holloway. Fuck, why not? Like, they could do that.
I mean, listen, man, I'm just going to be a little bitch here. I know TKZ and Max want to fight each other. I want to see Korean Zombie against Barboza, man. I really want to see that because I think that's a fun fight as well, you know? And for Barboza, man, that would be a great one. And for Zombie, it would be a fun one too. So, you know, but that division is difficult. You know, you can even, let's say, it depends when Max wants to come back. You can let him fight the winner of Josh Emmett against Ilya Topuria as well, you know? So it depends. But the thing is, like, as long as Volk is a champion, he will likely not get another title shot. And it sucks because he's clearly the second best guy in the division. Yeah. I know Jair is above him, but he's only above him because he's the interim champ. Exactly. And actually, I respect Arnold Allen because he said you have to beat Max to get to the title, you know, in my opinion. And I agree with that. And Jair, no disrespect to Jair, he did perfect against Emmett, but he got lucky, dude, that he didn't have. He went to Max first, but he got another win against Ortega. That one also got a little bit of an injury in, and then he fought Emmett, and now he gets the fight for the title. Because in my opinion, listen, man, you always agree with me on this. If the fighters got more money on the fight, do it, you know. And with championship fights, you get more money than just a random 5th round fight normally. But to be really honest, Jair versus Josh shouldn't have been an interim title fight, in my opinion.
It really shouldn't have. But like again, they thought maybe if Volk won, I guess he would have stayed in the division.
I understand.
But it doesn't really make sense because I was thinking about that today too. Because listen, I love Yuri. For instance, I'll give you an example. Yuri, right? And I understand I love this guy. He's all about like respect and martial arts and everything. Why did he give up his title when he could be fighting in the next couple of months? Apparently, like people are saying he's back in the gym training now, and he might fight Jamal Hill next. How does it make sense that he gave up his belt and is going to fight 2 fights later? Like, it's very weird. Again, Marcel, the interim title is a marketing tool for the UFC.
I know.
To throw in a card to say, "Hey, we have 2 title fights." Because you're right. No, you're right. Because really, Emmett and Yair should not have probably been for that interim belt because, you know, Volk at that point hadn't won the belts. You didn't really know, but again, because of that uncertainty, the UFC can justify it. Yeah, I think we're on the same page, man. I mean, really, like, come on, Marcel. If they book Korean Zombie, you're not going to complain. If they book Barboza or Topuria or Emmett, whoever gets Max, you're not going to complain. None of us are. So the guy's a beast. The other option is moving to lightweight, right? But here's the thing: lightweight's a different division. There's heavier hitters up there. We saw when he fought Poirier that you know, I know it's Poirier, right? I get it, but his reach is actually kind of short, which is interesting because you think Max is like this long fighter. He fights at range, but his reach is actually short. So at lightweight, it's kind of dangerous. And then, of course, like I know he has good takedown defense at featherweight, but I don't know if it's going to be as good at lightweight. And the thing is, like, if he goes to lightweight and loses, his stock drops. So for him, it's like Whitaker, right? Like, it's probably better just to stay in the division and see what happens in the future. So I'm kind of with you on that. Let's get some comments, guys, since I see some comments in the chat. It's talking about Blade. Oh, yeah, we'll talk about that in the next podcast. What's up, Knox? How's it going, man? Do you think Allen fights for the end of 2023? I mean, I hope so. This guy should be fighting more often, man. Like, I understand, you know, he's had some injuries. I understand that COVID happened. I get that his team probably wants him to be smart and take the right fights. But, you know, now that he's lost, Marshall, I have a feeling they're going to be more willing to take other fights. Because I think they were trying to protect his record a little bit on the way up. But now that he's lost to Max, it actually had a good showing. They don't need to protect him anymore. You know, he's a good fighter. And the thing is, it's not like boxing anyways. This is MMA. It's different. You can have losses and still, you know, become a champ. Look at Yair. He lost like 2 fights ago. And now he's the interim champ fighting for the belt. So, or 3 fights ago, I should say. A couple other comments here. Marcus had Max winning 1, 3, and 4. Yeah, I mean, I thought he won all those 3 rounds as well. And I also, you know, gave him the second, although that was competitive. Yeah, a lot of marketable prospects have lost. I agree. But I mean, that's the thing, right? We have to see how good these guys are. I know this isn't really the card. You guys hear about Carl Robinson. I heard, I mean, it's a fucked up story. Like, clearly he's got some mental health issues going on. He's probably completely broke. He got cut from the UFC. He didn't really do well in the UFC. It's not a nice story to hear. I hope he gets the help he needs. And it seems like he might end up in jail because it wasn't very good. Barboza, Korean Zombie is a good fight. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, Max won. I mean, good pick, guys. If you guys had him. Allen, one more win. I think he's gonna have to win more now that he's lost. Allen probably has to win like 2 or 3 more. But he's not that far away from a title shot. He probably has to beat like again at this point he's not gonna get it. But if he then again Yair lost to Max too, and then he beat Ortega and got the interim belt Marcel. So you never know really, right? You just say Arnold Allen actually goes into his next fight and he fights Brian Ortega and knocks him out. It's hard not to argue him as like a top contender at that point too, right? So. Max Cejudo, it's possible. I do think Cejudo is kind of an interesting guy too, because if he goes and beats Sterling, I fully expect him to call Volkanovski Marcel. I fully expect him to do that. And Volkanovski's gonna be favored over Yair. Allen Ortega. Yeah, I just said that fight. It actually is a good fight. I would not mind that fight. You like that fight, Marcel? Allen Ortega? You like that one?
Yeah, why not? It's possible,
It's a good fight.
And it's a fresh one.
Allen gets his hand injured. Yeah, exactly. That's the other problem. I hope his hand's okay after this one. Nate, the trainer, beats Ige. Let him. Nate, the train. Yeah. Nate Landwehr's right up there too. I mean, he's not. I don't think he's ranked yet, but like the UFC really likes him, and they're giving him a nice push. I think so. If he gets past Ige, he gets in the rankings, and then you never know what can happen. But yeah, overall, Marcel, I mean, it was a good fight. Did you think it was fight of the night? Would you give it a fight of the night? No. Okay.
I agree. I fully agree with fight of the night.
Okay, we'll get to that fight. I think I saw your tweet now. Actually, that I think about it. All right, you're good with the main event. Move on.
Yeah, sure.
Co-main event: Edson Barboza. I put the tweet up. Marcel was on the screen. Vintage performance. This was the classic Edson Barboza using his Muay Thai. It's actually reminding me a lot of the Beneil Dariush knockout from a few years ago, where that was a flying knee. This was like a jumping knee, but I mean, he crushed Billy Quarantillo's chin, man. He was completely knocked out cold. It was just a brutal knockout. Yeah, I mean, I feel stupid for doubting the guy, but again, he hasn't looked great in his last couple fights. Getting dropped by Bryce Mitchell. After seeing that, I just really couldn't pick him. But again, so dangerous with the striking. And here's the thing. I really like Billy Quarantillo. I think everyone likes him. He's a fan favorite, Marcel, but his striking defense is pretty bad. I got to say that. Now that I think about it, that Shane Burgos fight, man, he ate so many strikes in that fight, right? So and even the first round of the Alexander Hernandez fight, Marcel, right? He wasn't doing well. So he's a good fighter, good cardio and everything, but he takes a lot of damage. He's been knocked out a couple times, he's been knocked out once in the UFC, but again, a good fighter. But looking back at it, man, I definitely was I don't know if I overlooked Barboza. I more wrote him off too soon. He looked great. I mean, the fight didn't last long, but he looked amazing. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. I mean, Edson just timed that knee perfectly. Billy went for that takedown. He said it also on his Instagram story. I think Billy is like, I didn't lead in my takedown. I just went for the legs and I did something stupid and I had to pay for it. Yeah, man. I mean, I really like Billy Q. So I'm really sad for him that he got knocked out that way. But Edson Barboza, man, good performance, really sharp. The way we know he can fight. The only dude in the UFC who got knockouts with a kick to the head, kick to the body, and kick to the legs, and even got 2 TKOs. TKOs by a leg kick. So,
dude, the first UFC card I saw in person, I told you the story before. It was UFC 123 where he made his debut against this guy Mike Lulo, and he beat him with leg kicks. It was brutal. Like I said, one of the first MMA events I ever saw, ever, and I was like, holy crap! It was brutal, man. And I obviously fell in love with the sport before that, but that was another moment. I'm like, man, this guy's going to be good. And he also beat that Tractor Oliveira guy by the low kicks too. So he's just nasty. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, great performance, like you say, vintage performance, man, by Edson. And it's listen, man, these are the kind of guys who bring the violence, and it's fun to watch if they are on,
Yeah.
And when they are on, they are super dangerous, And you saw with Edson, if he's on, you can make a mistake like that, and he let you pay for it. And that knee was so perfectly placed. One of the 2 perfectly placed knees of the night, So yeah, amazing one.
Just checking his stats over the years. I mean, he's had so many fights. I think he's had over 20 fights now. 15 knockdowns, 7 against. Again, I still think Marcel against a really durable guy like a Justin Gaethje, that's a bad matchup for him, right? Because he can't eat those shots. But again, here's the other thing.
Didn't he lost to Gaethje?
He did, right? But I'm saying he's at 145 now. Remember that, right? It's kind of crazy. That at this point in his career, I think he's 37 now. He's at 145, making that cut and looking good. So I mean, again, Marcel, we talked about Hall of Fame last week. I don't think he gets in, right, at all. Because he never is champion. I don't even know if he was ever ranked in the top 5 I think he was top 10 at one point, but yeah, actually he might have been top 5 after he beat Anthony Pettis, now that I think about it, possibly. But I think he'll go in like under, like, again, we keep talking about it, Marcel. They need to open up a knockout wing, right? Because that fight with Terry Adam, still probably the greatest knockout of all time, I think. It's up there, right? I would say it's top 3. I mean, it's worst. Go ahead.
If you have to choose the spinning kick knockout against Terry Adam, or the Impact Kasanganai Joaquin Buckley one, which one do you choose?
That was great too. That was crazy, but I'd still go with the Adam one personally.
Yeah, me too.
I think that was probably the best one ever. Also, like the Dan Hooker knockout too. I mean, that was just a beatdown. We don't even talk about that fight ever. That was ridiculous. And then the Shane Burgos fight, where like the delayed reaction, that was crazy. The guy's a legend, Marcel. I love him. I love Edson Barboza, guys. Like, I feel really bad that I went against my guy, but again, I just thought the durability's not there, and I still think Marcel, he might get melted against some of these other guys. Like, but this was a good fight for him. Go ahead.
Like we're always saying, man, we're not biased. You know, we pick who we think will win, and not who we hope will win. You know, and I don't say you hope that Billy lost, but I don't say that. But listen, man. MMA journalists, media people who are saying they don't have favorite fighters, they are bullshitting you. You know, everybody. I mean, you fell in love with the sport because of certain fighters you like to watch. You know, you're not like, oh my god, this sport, I love everybody. You know, it's just not like that.
It's true, but like honestly, like people ask me now, like I just get sometimes I get people like, you know, like in real life, and they'll be like, who's your favorite fighter? And I'm like, I don't really have one. Like I just love.
I have many.
Yeah, I have so many.
I always say I have many.
Yeah, back in the day, I'd probably be like, I don't know, Randy Couture, or even like John Jones or something. But like now, I'd be like, I don't know, like they're all great. So,
but honestly, we have many. It's not. Listen, I cannot say I have one particular favorite fighter. I don't have. I have so many what I really like to watch. You know, so it's
and it changes too. Like there's some guys that they start to do bad, and you start not enjoying their fights anymore. Is what it is. Let's get some more comments, guys. Fight was short. Edson looked good. It was 2 minutes. But that's the thing. Like, what if it was a dragged out war? You know, like I don't know if his durability would have survived, but he looked great. No doubt. Edson Cater, great fight. Marcel, this fight sounds good to me.
Yeah, why not? It's fun.
I know you like the Korean Zongo, which I like too, but Cater sounds good.
That's good, yeah.
Billy Q and Bill Alge. No, they're not the same guy. They're different people. Where's Billy go from here? He's like 34, man. He's the same age as me, actually. Same birth year.
Isn't it crazy that Billy actually looks like he's in his 20s? I always think
he's kind of a late bloomer a little bit too. Like he has over 20 fights, and he's been around the sport for like over a decade, I want to say. But like he kind of came on the scene a little late, and he's making a late run here. But I don't know if he's like borderline top 15. Like that's where he is, right? And I know he's like, he's saying all the right things, like I'm going to be back and everything. And I really like Billy, and I'm not saying anything bad about him, but like at this point, Marcel, like we've seen him fight a step up a few times, and he hasn't really performed, right? Like when he fought Shane Burgos. Actually, that's not true. That fight was extremely close, to be fair. But even like Gavin Tucker, fight wasn't close. Gavin's. I don't even know where Gavin is. Like he disappeared off the planet. So, yeah.
I mean, if you can't find him in Canada, how would I know?
The funny thing was, remember last year I went on a vacation, like in eastern part of Canada. We were in I think it was Halifax, and I didn't realize until after I left, but he was actually training at a gym that was like on the same street I was at the hotel on. So I should have walked in there and been like, "Where the hell are you, man? Like, get back in the octagon, buddy." Anyways, a couple other comments here. Barboza Pierce. I mean, Pierce pulled out, so I don't know where he's doing. I don't know.
Pierce is injured, I think.
Yeah, he's got injured. Edson has a secret juice. I mean, no comment on that, but I doubt he does it anymore. But at the beginning of his career, everyone was juicing back in like the early like late 2000s, early 2010s, before you saw it. At this point, though, I doubt it, man. Let's see here. A couple other comments. David, thanks, man. I appreciate that, buddy. Really appreciate that. Says good show. All right. Go to the next fight.
Get the last one, what Juani says.
Marcel, stop lying. We know Patty's your fave. Yeah,
he's right when I'm constipated, yes.
All right, we're good on that fight. Okay, this was one of my best picks on the card, guys. Azamat Mirzakhanov, Marcel. Here we fucking go. I picked an underdog. He won the fight. Looked great. Azamat looked fucking great, guys. He broke his arm. That's the thing. Like, he looked terrible that third round. Got exhausted. But he had a broken arm, too, and survived the 3 rounds. 2 takeaways from this fight. Azamat is legit. He just beat a very, very good kickboxer to improve to 13-0. Not only that, but people had questions with the cardio, and I still do, but he did go the full 3 and still won the fight. He won the first 2 rounds. So in a 3-round fight, you just have to win 2 rounds. He won the first 2. He went 3 rounds with a broken arm. He's going to be out for a while, guys. He was in a cast at the post-fight press conference. I've broken my arm before. It's multiple months in the cast, and then you have to obviously, rehab it after. So he'll probably be out. Marcel, I don't think he'll return till the end of the year, if I had to guess. Like maybe October, November, December. I would say something like that. He is a little bit older, guys. He's 34, so he's not the youngest guy, but man, like he's an exciting guy to watch, I think. And he did drop Dustin Jacoby. All fights in the UFC, he's had a knockdown now. I want to say this though, Dustin Jacoby, very low fight IQ in that third round. Surprisingly low fight IQ for a guy with a lot of MMA experience, a lot of kickboxing experience. What the fuck is he thinking going for a takedown? What is he thinking, guys? Tell me. What is he thinking? Like, I don't get it. Like, you need a knockout. Your opponent was tired. Your opponent, he probably didn't know he broke his arm at that point, but like the opponent was injured. He was tired. He was moving backwards, and he shoots for takedowns and pushes against the fence. I don't get it. I really like Dustin, man. He's a great fighter. He got completely fucking hosed by the judges against Roundtree, and it ruined his momentum. But this is his first legit loss in the UFC since Chris Camozzi back in 2012. It's his first legit loss in the UFC, and I think when he watches this fight back, he's going to be kicking himself, man, because that was just really dumb. In a fight where you're down, this isn't like what's his name, Brendan Lofton against Bill Algeo when he's up 2 rounds and went for that takedown or so with 10 seconds left. Like this is just really bad fight IQ from a guy that you wouldn't expect it from, a guy with so much experience. I think if he let loose, he could have finished Azamat. I do think so, because the guy was so tired at that point, right? Again, a broken arm. But Azamat, to his credit, grabbed him, clinched him, and Jacoby just fell into that game too. So I don't know what you think about this fight, but yeah, I mean, I like Azamat, man. I think he's a good fighter. Go ahead.
Did Dustin think it was 1-1 when he came in the corner? I think his corner said to him, like, you are winning the round, and then the last 10 seconds were for Azamat, or the last 15 seconds in the second round. So maybe he thought it was 1-1. I don't know, man. You don't know what the fighters are thinking when they're in the corner, and they're maybe not really. He got knocked down, so he got his brain rattled pretty much.
I don't want to interrupt, but let me just say this. Like, if the round's close, your corner should never tell you when the round.
Oh, I fully agree. I fully agree. I honestly like it when the corner says, like, even if it's super close, when they're saying, we don't know, just go for the finish, go for the win,
Yeah,
we don't know if you won this round.
I have no idea. Like, we won the first round, or you lost the first round. Second round was close, man. Just, you have to go for the knockout because we have no idea. That's what I would say to them,
Yeah, me too. So, that said, I think Azamat fought a great fight in the first 2 rounds. I mean, definitely the first round he tagged the Jacoby, and it's actually, I thought it would have gone the other way pretty much, and I know you didn't. I did. So I after the fight, I was like, I kind of underestimated Azamat a little bit, maybe in this fight, or I overrated Jacoby, which I don't think. I think I underestimated Azamat. Third round, I kind of agree with you that he went through it, but I also agree with Gilbert on the Dutch podcast, where we said, like, the broken arm doesn't interfere your cardio, so that has anything to do with it, but he won the first 2 rounds. So, I mean, he won the fight. Third round was for Jacoby. Yeah, it was. But like you said, man, and actually Kutalaba did the same, but he got away with it. He tried to get him down to the ground. Let's Kutalaba attacked Barboza, and then he tried to get him down to the ground as well. He finished it this time, but he did it against Kennedy as well, and he paid for it back then. So, yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, a couple comments here. Very surprised I didn't beat Jacoby stand up. He's got power, man. That's the difference, right? Great pick on him. Feels like Azamat's overrated. We'll see. I mean, he might be like one of those guys that kind of maxes out in that 10 to 15 spot. But hey, I mean, if you're top 50 in the world, you're pretty fucking good. What's up, Andrew? He says, Dustin has 2-round cardio. Not exactly you. I mean, I never really thought Dustin has bad cardio personally. I thought he always had pretty good cardio. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still think he should have went for broke personally. I actually think they told me he needs to finish. Okay. Andre Sukata, disappointed in this fight. That was the worst ever against Sean O'Malley for sure.
Right.
I'm between Volkan and Span as Azamat's next opponent. Again, he's going to be out for a while, guys. He broke his arm. He's going to be out for a few months at least. Healing up and then rehabbing. Who do you think, man? Yeah.
Remember Rashad Evans' commentary on the broadcast about Andre Sukanta. He's like, Andre, dude, you're my boy, but boy, what did you do?
It's funny. Anyways, I mean, those fights are good. Like, any of those fights make sense. Like, the loser of Johnny Walker and Anthony Smith, you could fight them. Yeah, Volkan would be good because he's in the top 10. Ryan Span's good. Any of those guys make sense. I saw Dominic Reyes called out Paul Craig. It looks like that might be the next fight, but go ahead.
What did you say?
Just what's Azamat's next fight? Actually, this
No. What did you say? How did you pronounce his name? Paul.
Paul Craig.
Yeah, thank you.
Does Khalil Roundtree have a fight? Does he have a fight booked?
I don't think he has.
You know what? If Khalil doesn't fight that often, if he can wait, or even if he fought and then waited a bit, they could do that fight because they're both coming off a win over Jacoby. Obviously, I don't think that Khalil beat Jacoby, but this guy clearly beat him. I mean, this wasn't. I don't think it was controversial at all. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think Azamat could beat a couple guys because it's all matchups, right? I think Azamat could beat Johnny Walker. I think he could beat Volkan. Do I think he beats Nikita Krylov or Rakic or those guys? No. Even Anthony Smith might be a tougher fight because he's very durable and has a good grappling game. But Marcel, I do think he could beat a guy like Paul Craig. He beats. I think for pretty sure he beats him. So he could beat some guys in the top 10 now that I think about it. But as much as I like this guy, Marcel, and I really do like Azamat, he's got, again, we talked about, you're the one who even told me this a few years ago. You were like, he's got that cheat code power, right?
Yeah,
You're the one who said that, and he showed it again. Because you're right, that second round, I think it was the second round with Jacoby, was competitive, and they dropped him, right? And he definitely swung the round back in his favor. So, guy's got power. Let's go to the next. Oh, yeah, here's the question. Evlov and Topuria. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's in a couple of weeks. I haven't really had time to think about it. I have a lean right now, but I don't want to say.
It's Evlov Mitchell, man. Topuria's fighting Emmett.
Oh, yeah. What am I talking about? Yeah, that fight was supposed to happen last year.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah. All right.
I'm actually happy it's not happening because now I don't have to think about who I think is going to win. Because that's a tough one.
Yeah. Topuria, I think, is favored over Mitchell. The line might be. I'm not sure. Light heavyweight division. Tanner Boser. Man, I expected more from him. Marcel, he got just smoked. Cutelaba has 5 minutes. You have to survive 5 minutes. You couldn't do that. He didn't even have a chance. I think the stoppage was very, very good stoppage. No issue with the stoppage at all.
Very weird, actually.
You thought the stoppage was weird?
It looked weird. No, it was a good stoppage, but it looked weird. He had his arm behind his back, and he got punched. It's just really weird,
I thought Ion just did the right thing. Just kept smashing his face. I was surprised by the takedown as well. And I was watching my friend. I'm like, what is he doing? He's going to gas himself out again. And then he just finished the fight.
Really sophisticated interview fight by Kutalaba afterwards, by the way.
Marcel, here's the thing. I think he moved to 6-9 in the UFC now. It's 6-9-1 or something. Let me double check. 5, 6, 7. Oh no, sorry. 6-8-1 because he has that draw. It's not the greatest record in the world. You know what I mean? But the guy's definitely exciting. I think this is a bad loss for Boser, man. I really do. Because now he's lost 4 or 5 fights, Marcel. That doesn't look good. His record in the UFC is 4-5 now. So he's not 500 anymore. He might be he's going to be in a must-win situation in his next fight, in my opinion. So I like Boser. I do think he's at the right weight class despite getting knocked out. And some people saying, the weight cut affected the chin, maybe. But I just the way they fought, that punch, they rocked him originally was a good punch. And, after that, it was just survival mode. He just couldn't survive. So, yeah. You have any other thoughts?
I'm with you, man. I was also on Boser before this fight, So I was, like we both said, he has to come through the first round, and he didn't. So, I mean, I was surprised as well. I like what Apex actually says. Tanner Boser against Chris Dawkins. Why not? At light heavyweight. I think that would be a good fight. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, next fight, I guess.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. There's some fights in this card that I'm like, man, I should have picked this person ever. This is a fight I would have never picked Pedro Munoz to win. You know what I mean?
No, same.
Yeah, I just wouldn't have picked him to win because I thought, it's a good matchup with Chris Gutierrez, very good striker, probably going to stay on the feet. We know how these guys fight. Dude, Munoz dominated in Marcel. This fight I don't think it was competitive really at all, to be honest with you. This is a really bad loss for Chris Gutierrez, isn't it? He had so much momentum. He hadn't lost in 8 straight fights. And then he goes up against Munoz. He's just coming off a win over Frankie Edgar, coming off that win over Dinar Bakary, and he gets just outpointed. I didn't expect it. I really did. Munoz, man, so solid, so underrated still. He really did look like the young Punisher in this fight for once. Good for him, man. I like Pedro. I've always liked Pedro Munoz. He's a good fighter, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, he looked good, man. I mean, the moment he knocked him down in the first round, Gutierrez couldn't do anything anymore, I think Mark Montoya asked him in between rounds, don't you feel it or something? He's like, no, I completely don't feel it, and well, it showed, Pedro was just better overall. And the thing was, like, I thought Chris would be better in the striking, but actually Pedro was much better in the striking,
Yep.
and that kind of surprised me. The thing is, like you said last week as well, Pedro only fought killers in the division, and he got one lone win in his last 6 or 7 fights, I think.
Yep.
Got that no contest against O'Malley and lost to Edgar in a fight he should have won, in my opinion. So
Yeah, I thought you won that fight. Yep.
yeah. So for Gutierrez, it's a bad loss, man. I mean, Munoz. I think the UFC was trying to see Munoz as a stepping stone for Gutierrez to get further in the division, and he didn't. He didn't took the stepping stone, man. He pretty much fumbled over it. You know what I mean? And yeah, Munoz did very well, man. This was really like a veteran against a guy who tries to get higher in the division and probably wasn't ready, or wasn't his day. We will see next time, I don't want to say he wasn't ready, because we've seen good things from Gutierrez before, but that was clearly not his day. And it was Munoz did very well, looked very good. I'm happy for Munoz, man. He's a good dude,
Yeah, he's good. A couple other comments here. Sorry, Marcus, I missed this question. Who should Ian fight next? That's a good question too. He's not ranked anymore, but I don't know. I mean, they could do him against Azamat if they wanted to. They could do that fight. Again, Azamat's hurt. They could do the rematch with Jacoby. That would be interesting, because that first one was a draw. Khalil, Khalil here, I think they fought already, right? Khalil knocked him out, if I'm not mistaken. Right? I think they fought
against Eon. Yeah, they fought. I think. What was it? A submission?
I think he finished him with TKO or something.
Okay,
I'll double check.
Okay.
Yeah, he took him down to the ground. He was like smashing his face in. Anyways, yeah, someone like that, Marcus, like borderline top 15 guy. 30 pro fights for heavy. 30 pro heavyweight fights for Bozer, is only second K loss. I think he has fought at like heavyweight like way past, but it's been a while. 6'4" versus 5'10". You want Chase Sherman and Chris Barnett every weekend, I guess.
Did Kutelaba fought Manifield?
I don't think so. That would be a good fight too. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, they could do that one. Oh yeah, Manifield and Crude. Those are two other guys, right? Like they had that draw too, right? So they might do that fight again. I'm not sure. It doesn't seem like they're going to, but that fight was very good. What do you guys think about Kutal versus the Chinese guy from Road? What's his name? Zhang something? Min Yang.
Oh, Min Yang. Zhang Min Yang,
yeah. Yeah. I guess, but I mean, has he even fought in the UFC yet?
No, he was supposed to fight Tyson Pedro, but he pulled out.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, actually, now that looking back, he actually might have won that fight.
Yeah, what about Tyson Pedro?
Tyson Pedro's a fraud, man. We know this now. We know he's a fraud.
What about Modestas Bukauskas?
He beat him clean, and I think that would be an interesting fight. Deskus wanted that fight more. It's been a while now, but yeah, Bozer actually this fight would be good. Yeah. I like this fight, Bozer and Tyson Pedro. Yeah, the loser probably gets cut. I mean, quite frankly, Tyson Pedro is not that great, guys. Like,
dude, Tyson Pedro got so many layups from the UFC, man. It's
and they fumbled the bag in his last fight, man. Just how good is O'Malley? O'Malley's very good. He's a very good fighter. Regardless if people think about them, he's very good. Jim's never saying after Pedro dropped in round 1. I agree with that Gutierrez thing for sure. Pedro and Font, they have fought before. It'd be an interesting rematch, though, right? Like it could go different. So they could do that fight. I wasn't even thinking about who Pedro would fight. I kind of feel like they're gonna keep him in the same spot as the gatekeeper, man. That's what I think. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, maybe he could fight the winner of Simone and Yadong this weekend. They could do that fight with Pedro.
I actually like what Wani says, man. Chris against Yanez. Why not?
Gutierrez and Yanez, that'd be good, right? Because now we'll know who is legit and kind of isn't as good as we thought. They could do this fight too. Umar, and he's the kind of guy that would take the fight too. Like Pedro, I don't think Pedro Munoz is the kind of guy that says no to fights. I'm pretty sure he says yes to every fight they offer him. So this guy likes the fight too. So do I. Pedro got screwed. Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, what? It's Iwan Kutelaba or something, but I also say Ion always. Yeah.
Okay, I don't even know. I've heard different pronunciations.
Yeah,
Ion,
that's the thing.
Eon. Yeah, I've heard a lot of different ones, but yeah, I mean, my bad. Is he was going to beef up the Vancouver? I mean, I hope so. They need to put more fights in that card. Probably Oliveira and Dariush. It looks like. So
I know. Adam was really happy when they announced Nunes Pena 3 for.
I'm not going anyways, but our boy James Lynch is going. He's not too thrilled about it.
I understand.
We'll go through some of the other. Well, actually, there's some good fights coming up, but yeah, this one, Rafa Garcia defeats Clay Guida by decision. Like I said, I really liked him in this fight. I actually thought he was going to wrestle more, but he just chose to outstrike him. Garcia looked good, man. He landed a lot of strikes in this fight. Obviously the takeaway from this fight is the post-fight interview.
It was funny, actually. I thought.
I was watching my friend again, and I'm like, why is he taking his gloves off? I'm like, is he retiring? It doesn't really make sense. Like, I know he's 42, but like he's still competitive in his fights. Like, he's not like not competitive. He's not getting like destroyed. He's not going in there and getting knocked out cold, right? He does get submitted a lot, but I'm just saying, like, I was like, okay, this is kind of weird. And then he was just joking about it just to get his friend a happy birthday, and Dana was fucking pissed.
I love it. I love it. DC, what really respectful. Clay, we see you putting out your gloves. Do you want to say something to the audience? I was so laughing hard because Clay actually, I think he said earlier, like, I want to fight till my 55th or something.
Yeah.
I'm not ready at all. So I didn't bought it personally, and. I thought it was funny, and Dana was upset. Yeah, we have a format. I'm like, dude, if you had a format, you were lucky that some of your later prelims got finishes, dude.
Yeah, because they would have had to go overrun the card, right?
Yeah.
So Clay Guida's got 58 pro fights, so I mean, I still think he's got more in the tank. Even if he's not getting knocked out cold, guys. Like, it's not like Frankie Edgar, where he's getting getting knocked out cold, and it's just like you have to step away. This is a little different with Clay. Fight of the night, Marcel, for you was this fight, Bill Algeo and TJ Brown. It did win the bonus. I thought it was a good fight. I'll tell you what my fight there was after, but I mean, honestly, the fight went exactly how I thought, Marcel. I thought TJ Brown would gas out, and Bill Algeo was some of the better cardio in this division, and he looked great. And then he had a nice little promo at the end.
Yeah, what did you think about that?
I thought it was like Sandhagen a few weeks ago. Super cheesy but funny, right? So I like Bill Algeo, man. And they were saying his mom died recently, like he had a heavy heart coming into this. He fought well. He's a good fighter. I have always liked Bill Algeo. I think he's a very good fighter. He's very durable. He's very good. So it was a good fight. I'll give my pick for fight in a few, but definitely a solid performance. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know already you're gonna pick Jocelyn Edwards against Lucy Pudilova.
Obviously, man. I mean, now you spoiled it for everyone.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Now, I really like the fight. I think Brown looked really good in the first round, man. Had Algeo in trouble. Algeo pulled through, and he turned it around, got the finish in the second round. Yeah, I really liked that fight, man. I think it was a really good fight. It was a fun one. It was out there, like, as long as it lasted, it was really fun to watch. And although I thought Algeo would have got a little bit easier of a win than he had. He really had to overcome adversity. He got the win, so good for him. Yeah, and that post-fight speech, I had to laugh when he was like, some guys retire, but I'm definitely not going to retire in this dump. It's like, yeah. It
was funny, yeah, for sure. He's a good fighter, man. You know what? Actually, he's won a bunch of bonuses too, so he's kind of a bonus machine a little bit too. TJ Brown. You think he gets cut or give him one more? I guess he's 4-4.
They give him one more.
My apologies. He's 3-4. He had that winning contender, so he probably has to win his next fight. I would guess, right?
Likely.
Okay. Excuse me. A couple other comments here. Let's see here.
Yeah, what Knox says, by the way, that's why.
Dana's pissed at Guida as the guys in the ledger. I know. That's funny. Oh, Algeo's an Eagles fan. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Algeo's funny in the mic. I like him, man. He's good. He's definitely a good fighter, and he seems like a good dude too. Like, he seems like just a solid guy. He's a family man. He's a dad like me, Mark. So he's got that dad strength. So, Brandon Royval gets the bonus for performance. Just amazing. This was incredible. Did you pick Royval? I can't remember now.
No, I picked Nicolau.
See, I thought the fight would be extended, right? Like, I didn't think it would end this quick. I mean, Nicolau's looked great since coming back to the UFC, but again, second time getting flatlined in the first round. Remember, Dustin Ortiz also did the same thing. So Nicolau's a good fighter, man, but Royval is super legit. He's so dangerous everywhere. 5-2 down the UFC. It's funny. His 2 losses are the guys fighting for the belt. He apparently is going to be the backup fighter.
Yeah, but he's screwed.
Why?
He's going to be the backup fighter. So let's say both guys fight. He has no fight.
Yeah,
he cannot fight Figgy because Figgy is likely fighting Cap. He cannot fight. Who's the other? He cannot fight Kai Kara France because he's fighting Albazi. He recently fought Schnell. Dvorak is fighting Schnell. Everybody over there is matched up in the top 10. Only Alex Perez isn't, but he isn't coming back soon because he is still recovering. So he's fucked, at this moment. He can be backup fighter, but backup fighter pretty much means making weight, get some extra money, and hoping that you get the fill-in spot when somebody drops out, which is not very likely to happen.
Yeah, I don't know why he's pursuing it so much. Like, I'm kind of with you. Like, he should be asking for a fight in that card instead. Like, if anything, Marcel, the UFC maybe should have waited to see what happened here before they booked that Cop and Figgy fight. Although I like that fight. I do like that fight. I'm just saying, like, I like Cop a lot, but now that I think about it, Royval's probably more deserving of fighting Figgy.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
They probably should have waited another week to. I don't know if it's been officially announced. Anyways,
it's not officially announced, but it's been agreed by both sides.
It's a good fight. I don't mind that fight. I'm just saying, like, I kind of agree with what you're saying. But yeah, Royval looked great. All right, my pick for fight of the night. I mean, again, Marcel, like, I have a soft spot in my heart for these guys, especially Ed Herman. But this fight was a fucking war, dude. It was a fucking war, which is exactly what I expected from any Ed Herman fight. I mean, we'll talk about the retirement and everything in a second, but like, Ed Herman has been in the UFC since 2006. It's 2023 now, 17 years in UFC. He has had so many good fights over the years. He is so fucking tough. I think he's one of the toughest guys to ever fight in the UFC, Marcel. To last that long and to be in so many fights where he's taking extreme amount of damage and to last this long and do a sport. And he wasn't even knocked out cold. Like, he got finished late in the third round, right? Like, he was just exhausted and Conley was just pouring it on, but wasn't knocked out cold. Really, the only time I think he got knocked out cold was, I guess, Brunson and then Krylov. That's it. In like, what, 30 fights or something? Like, one of the toughest guys to ever fight in the UFC. I got to give Zach Cummings credit here too. He's won in 3 different weight classes in the UFC. Like, not many guys have done that. I know, like, Vitor did that. There's a few other guys, but not many guys. Like, everyone's like, oh, John Joe's double champion, Cormier double champion, all these double champs, right? I get it, but like, there is something to be said about winning in 3 different weight classes. That's very impressive. Zach Cummings actually had a very good career, Marcel. 10-4 record in the UFC. 10-4, solid, very solid. I almost was like, man, I don't think he should retire because he looked fucking great. Like, this was probably his best performance ever, maybe, Marcel, to be honest with you. Like, he looked amazing in this fight, and I get it though, right? Because he's getting up there in age and he's got a young child he wants to spend time with her, right? I get that, but I'm just saying, I thought he looked phenomenal in this fight. One of his best performances. Don't blame him for him hanging it up because, again, a lot of guys will hang it up too late, right? This kind of reminds me of like when Chris Lytle beat Dan Hardy and he hung it up after he won that fight. Like, kind of like a journeyman type guy. I love Chris Lytle, one of my favorites too. And then retires after a win. Not many guys get a chance to retire after a win. That's the thing with Ed Herman here. Had to retire after a loss. But like I said, I love Ed Herman. I will say, there's a few other things about this fight I want to say. First, with Ed Herman, he's done with the UFC, his contract's over and everything. I wouldn't be surprised, guys, if he does end up in bare knuckle fighting. I could see him there. He's the kind of guy that makes sense for that, Marcel. And I'm not gonna. I probably wouldn't even watch it, to be honest, because I don't watch bare knuckle really. But like, they might throw a bag at him, man. They could. I could easily see that happening. He's not gonna fight in the UFC again. Also, I gotta give Dana White credit. He gave them each $50,000. That was very nice of him. He didn't have to do that. Everyone always shits on Dana, including us here on the podcast, Marcel, about being cheap with the bonuses. He actually gave out an extra bonus on his card to one of the fighters, and they gave out this. And I'm kind of disappointed they didn't announce it as a code, like 2 fighter nights, right? Because they ended up giving the money, but I guess they didn't because I guess it's under the table money, man. Like, I don't know if like they might have slipped them like a check or something. Like, I don't know how they do it. Like, it wasn't. I guess it's legit. It's like one of those locker room bonuses, and a lot of times people say like that's because they don't report it or something for taxes. I don't really know how it works. In the States, it's a little different, I guess, but. Anyways, I'm glad Dana did that. About the fight itself, it was a fucking war. Here's the thing with Ed Herman. Like, yeah, he landed the illegal up kicks, but he doesn't care because it's just points. Like, he didn't lose the fight. He didn't mind. It was like a timeout for him, Marcel, to get his breath back. It's kind of funny. That's how he gets a timeout. But yeah, and then the last thing I want to say about this fight, the post-fight interview by both guys, beautiful stuff. Like, probably I think you even said this yourself, like, one of the most beautiful moments I've ever seen in MMA. I mean, this is a brutal fucking sport where people go in there. Like, your job is to hurt your other opponent so bad they can't continue, guys. Like, that's your job. But the amount of respect shown between these two fighters, the amount of respect shown by DC, giving Ed a hug, Ed sitting there crying. Dude, I was crying. Like I said, one of my favorite fighters ever. The announcers were crying. Brendan Fitzgerald, Bisping, everyone. Like, the arena was probably teared up. It was beautiful, man. It was fucking beautiful, Marcel. It was fucking beautiful. I loved it. Them sitting there, holding each other's heads on the ground. Oh, man. It really got to me, Marcel. That's one of the purest moments you'll ever see in the sport. 2 true martial artists. I really like this fight, man. I liked everything about this fight, dude. The little up kicks aside, because, yeah, it's stupid. But, again, he's just trying to game the system. It was like that Mike Rodriguez fight. He took timeouts in that fight, too. Yeah. The guy's ridiculous. Anyways, I think I said enough, man. But I loved it. Give me your thoughts on everything, man.
It was a fun fight, man. I'm not taking anything from either way, but it was kind of one-sided, man. Cummings was really much better in my opinion, but Ed is so tough. You can hit him with the kitchen sink, like you guys always say. He won't go down, and he's so tough. And that kept him in the fight, because I think many people wouldn't be in that fight anymore after the first round, because Cummings landed so much. Referee didn't put him back in the same position twice.
Oh, that was the other thing. Yeah, fucking idiot, eh? Like, honestly. What a fucking idiot. Who is this ref? This guy's a moron. What's his name? I gotta see his name.
I don't know.
Wayne Best. We'll talk about the judging in another fight, but this guy didn't do a good job in this card, I don't think. Because, Zach lost his position, and the point wasn't taken away the first time. And the second time, he got a point taken, but he lost his position. So,
really weird. So
keep going.
But yeah, fun fight, and much more fun fight than I expected, to be really honest. Not gonna lie. I remember when I posted this on Twitter, people were like, "You got that Jumanji gif where what year is it?" So you know exactly what I mean.
Yeah, that's jokes. That's jokes.
Yeah. So
it's more like a 2012 fight or something, 2010, right? Like. But man, go ahead, Marcel. I want to hear your thoughts.
I really enjoyed that fight, and even if my dad tells me like that was an amazing fight to watch, then more. If he enjoys it, it's a fun fight.
What about the post fight?
Oh, of course. It's nice to see two guys going out together, sharing a nice moment.
Has that ever happened before? I can't think of it.
People ask me as well. I can't remember it.
I don't think you guys ever not in the cage, anyways. Like, there's no doubt. So it was beautiful, man. Yeah. It's also people calling it a sloppy fight. Okay, it wasn't the most technical fight, but these guys they put their hearts on the line in this fight, so I don't mind that. Marcel. Like,
listen,
Cummings looked technical. Cummings looked fucking good. Didn't he look good in this fight?
I agree, man. And there were worse fights on this card, man. If you were talking about the technical and that kind of stuff, So I think it was a fun fight, and it was much more fun than I expected to be honest. So yeah, I enjoyed myself.
All right, let's get some comments here. Oh, sorry guys, I missed some comments about Royval. Royval's hard. He's a great fighter. He's dangerous everywhere. Royval and cap when Figgy pulls out. Yeah, when Figgy misses weight. Helwani Sun was earlier. I'll ask you guys, was the last backup fighter. I don't know if anyone ever has. I can't think of one. Oh, well, I guess he wasn't a backup, but TJ Dillashaw fought. Who was it, Marcel?
Joe
Soto, right? Who pulled out that day? Do you remember?
It was Joe Soto. Barral pulled out, and I think Joe Soto was supposed to fight Burchak.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So I guess technically wasn't the backup, right?
That was actually awful, because Soto was supposed to fight Burchak. Burchak didn't get a fight, and Burchak got robbed in his house when he wasn't at home. So that was...
Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, that's kind of a tough one.
And also we had Al Iaquinta falling in for... was that Khabib was supposed to fight Max?
No, Khabib, that fight. There was a lot of pullouts in that fight.
Yeah.
The whole week was fucked up with the Conor thing. Glenn, I agree with you. The Sams, listen, to me, I kind of laughed at it because it's just they weren't really the hardest kicks. Obviously, you have to. You should have taken 2 points. You should have. Well, they weren't, Marcel. They weren't the hardest up kicks.
No, but they were on purpose.
They were. He was trying to get a break. He was tired.
But
points should have been taken both times, right? I think.
Should we? Yeah, for sure. But other topics. Should we stop? Should we change the rules and allow these up kicks, man? I mean,
yes. I mean, fuck yeah. I love up kick knockouts. The other, I thought you were gonna say the rule is like, I think they should start them in the ground position again, or you can leave it up to the fighter who's fouled. Could ask them like, what do you want to do?
Yeah, right? For sure. I'm with that. Yeah.
Or you ask for a corner because maybe their heads rocked. I don't know. Like, but I think they definitely. Why would you give the? Think about it, Ed. The first time, he got to stand back up, Marcel, and got to he had a chance to knock him out potentially. You know what I mean? Otherwise, he's on the ground. I don't know. He actually threw out some nice armbar attempts, like he did, but he was never going to submit Zach Cummings. He's not Gunnar Nelson. Boston the whole want to be a backup thing. I think it's dumb because I think they paid him $20,000. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, Marcel. I think it's $20K. It's not bad. You don't have to actually fight potentially, and then you could get a bag if you fight. But you wouldn't even know who you'd be fighting until the day before, and if you lose, you'd have to wait a while to get another title shot. So I think I get why they bring them in because it's a pay-per-view. Like they can't risk having the fight fall off because it's happened, right, Marcel? But for me, it's not something you should be striving for. And I really like Brandon Royval, but he should be I want to fight in that card, and in case they pull out, I want to take the title shot. That's what I would say if I'm him and his management, but I'm not. So, Grillo, what's up, man? Thanks again for giving us the art for the podcast, my friend. I really appreciate it. I know Marcel feels the exact same way.
Yes.
Couple of comments. Pavlovich was Pavlovich. Oh, I can't click on this thing. Pavlovich was the backup, not fighting Jones. True. Post-fight, beautiful. As well. Was his mom a happy birthday? Was it his mom? That was his friend. One can appreciate your passion for the sport. I'm cool stuff. I love it, man. Again, like I love these guys that are like legends. You know, like and again, Ed's not going in the Hall of Fame, but to me, he's got a soft spot in my heart. You know, Cop Chaos Figgy, who's next to the belt. What about Cop? I mean, we'll have to see because again, if Moreno wins, I mean, or if Pantoja wins, you never know. Like it depends on the fight goes. Holloway was backup first, and I quit to play Max. That's what happened.
Yeah, sure.
How many languages do I speak? I mean, I just speak English. I know a little bit of French, I guess, because that's what we have to learn here. But I know Marcel knows Dutch, English, French. You know?
No, German. A little bit.
Yeah. Let's go through the other fights quickly, Marcel. Daniel Zellhuber looked great. Do you think Jason Herzog should have stopped the fight in the first round?
Could stop, but the thing was, Hinata was reacting to everything Jason Herzog said, so it was good that he let it go. And the thing was, like with Zellhuber, I was like, dude, you're not going to fade again, right? But he picked it up.
Dude, he looked good, right? Didn't he?
Yeah, third round, second round, not so much in my opinion.
I thought he lost second round. I thought it was
first one could 10-8, possible.
Yeah. I think it was borderline 10-8, but I don't mind it. You know?
Yeah.
It wasn't like a clear 10-8, but it was because he only dropped it once, but that. He landed like 40 punches, I think, or something in that first round. Wasn't it something like that? 40 exactly, yeah. So Denise Gomes, brutal knockout. Marcel, I think she got robbed of a bonus. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree, and definitely because many people, including ours too, were on Bruno Brazil here. You know.
I know.
Yeah, and she. I
remember.
Terrible, I think you DM'd me. You were like, "Dude," and I was like, "Yeah, terrible." We were
she looked bad, didn't she? Just looked bad, right?
Yeah, and Denise Gomez, she was so. How do you say that? So attacking and aggressive, you know.
Yeah.
And many people were calling her evil Andrade, but I actually like what Vince Morales said. He says evil Gadelia. She actually looks more like evil Gadelia.
Yeah, she actually kind of does like Claudia a little bit. He's got that neck tattoo.
Yeah.
Who do you think she fights next? I'm actually kind of intrigued by her a little bit. How about Loma? Or did she already fought Loma?
She fought Loma.
Sorry, I just think about that fight. My bad. Sorry. Why did I say that? Because they just fought. Look how dumbass. Although it was a good fight. Yeah. Actually, looking back, it was a good fight. Who was I thinking about? There was someone else. My bad. I gotta pull up the list of fighters. My bad.
Yeah, no problem.
Brain fart. Of course that happens, right, Marcel? All right.
You know what a fun fight would be?
Could they do that one?
Yeah, but I'm thinking about or it's at 125. I'm thinking about the Mexican girl. She's 125, right?
Smelly, super.
No, not Smelly. Horegi.
Oh, dude, that's the fight, right?
Yeah.
Yasmin Horegi, dude. That would be a good fucking fight. I mean, I think you guys agree. The other one would be the winner of Lucindo and Brogan Walker. If Lucindo wins, another good young fighter, right?
Yeah, although that fight is at 125.
What about this fight? A girl that's very tough, Sam Hughes.
Yeah, I like that as well because I think Sam Hughes is a girl you gotta fight. She's so you gotta be on your you gotta be sharp for 3 rounds if you don't take her out. You know what I mean? So yeah. I
agree. And then what was the other one? There's a few. I mean, there's a few that are definitely interesting. Couple comments here. Brazil looked horrible. Octagon jitters are overrated. Probably a bit of both. I mean, she's not as good as we thought. You know, Marcel, like obviously. All right, a couple other fights really quick. Gaston Bolanos defeats Aaron Phillips. How did you score this fight?
I'm going to be really honest with you here. I didn't really pay attention enough to score the fight, but I felt like Phillips had the better back takes and the ground game.
That's the thing, like that third round, Marcel. I know Bolanos landed more, I get it.
Yeah.
But guys, like we'll talk about the whole damage debate in the first fight too. But the official rules say effective striking and grappling. It doesn't just say striking, and you're really falling down a rabbit hole, Marcel, when you completely ignore grappling because the guy got he landed some good strikes in the third. I'm just saying the third round. But Aaron Phillips had his back for 2 minutes. Like that is a dominant position. Like, and he was going for it, and he was doing a little bit of damage too. To me, he swung it back, but I still thought Bolanos won the first 2, so I gave it to Bolanos. But it was competitive. I just don't really agree with 30-27. And then the last fight, Marcel, Let's talk about this decision. Jocelyn Edwards defeats Lucia Pudilova. First off, I was watching the fight and I looked at the odds live. Minus 20,000, guys. Minus 20,000. That's giving her like what 99.99999% chance to win the fight. You never know with these fucking judges, and look what happened, right? That's the danger there. But here's the thing, like I don't think this was a hard fight to score, and like all three of the judges I think scored it wrong personally, Marcel. All three of them, which is fucking scary. Here's the other thing: all these judges had no experience. Why are they fishing a UFC caliber fight? These guys should. I know they're like, oh, they work in the regional scene. Why? Because Pudilova is opening up the show that she doesn't deserve a better judge. Come on.
Yeah.
And Edwards, I should say, for her part, Jocelyn Edwards must have a horseshoe up her ass, Marcel, because she keeps winning these close decisions, dude. 3 in a row now that a lot of people thought her opponent won, right? The Kim fight, a lot of people thought Kim won. Even Pasquale, a lot of people thought Pasquale won that fight. So, Marcel, like, I'm not sold on Edwards at all. I'll just say that right now. But it's not her fault she got the decision. I'm disappointed with the judges because second round, Edwards. Third round, Pudilova, right? But Marcel, that first round is I think it's Pudilova. I think Pudilova wins that round. Yeah. And sorry, I got it mixed up. Sorry, guys. The third round was Edwards. Sorry.
Yeah.
The second round was Pudilova. Pudilova won the round 1 and 2. Now, I will say this: the first round was competitive, right, for the most part. But then, like the last minute or two, Pudilova like moved into these really dominant positions on the ground. She was landing from the top, and it swayed the round back to her, and she deserved to win that round. And it is fucking awful that none of the judges scored for her in that first round.
Everybody on MMA Decisions had it for Pudilova at that fight. So, I mean, we keep having this every week, and I saw Edwards posting on our Instagram today. She was like, listen, guys, I got a lot of hate comments and stuff on my DMs from people. She's like, I'm not going to reply to it, but it's not my fault. I got the decision. And I told Pudilova after the fight, immediately we can do a rematch. So, okay. I mean, fair enough,
They could do it. They could actually do a rematch.
Yeah, why no, let's don't do it in LFA. But, I mean, it was like, it was a bad decision, I didn't watch it live. I had to watch it back, for the simple reason that I was watching Cage Warriors before as well, and it overcrossed each other a little bit. So I missed it in the first. Right. So I watched it back. But a friend of mine, he was like, dude, this is probably one of the worst robberies I've seen in a long time. So I watched it back, and it was a bad one, I think. Yeah,
it was bad. Let's get some comments and put it. This decision was a result of the whole damage over control conversation, which I think started after home beer. I mean, it's been going on long before that, though, to be fair. But I agree. You're running. This isn't kickboxing or boxing. Like, it's MMA ground. Here's the thing. I agree. When you're just laying and praying, laying someone's guard, like not doing any damage, not moving position, I get that. But like when you're moving to full mount, like Pudilova had, Marcel, when you're moving to side control, when you are throwing strikes from the top, that's big. We have back control, like the Aaron Phillips guy had. Those positions are big, right? Those 3 positions: mount, side control, and back control, Marcel. They're big positions, and they deserve to have more credit taken for them, especially when I get it. Damn it, I get it. Like, here's the thing: Edwards didn't like drop her and almost finish her or something like that. She landed a little bit more strikes, but did she really do that much more damage? I don't think so, and because of that, I do think you push that grappling up a little bit more.
I don't. It's some of these schmucks on Twitter, who are like, who are acting like they are like the officials of scoring, and they're like,
God's gift to scoring.
They are like, wrestling and control doesn't get scored, and that maybe those amateur, I don't want to say amateur judges, but these, how do you say that? These newer judges who aren't familiar. They're probably also reading Twitter. You know what I mean?
Like, how long are these judges? Like, how long have they been watching MMA? How long have they been sport fighting? I don't know. Maybe 2 years. Maybe since COVID. Who fucking knows?
Yeah.
It's scary though, right? It's scary. Like, this was the first fight in the card too, which is scary.
Yeah.
So the fighters coming after them probably would have been like, "Holy shit, I need to finish my fight." Like, you never know. Now, here's an interesting comment from Andrew. Andrew, respect. Don't agree with you here, but I want to read your comment anyways. He said, my hottest take ever. Okay, so fair enough. He's admitting it right away. Scored Edwards live as well. Thought the damage she did in the first half of the round was far greater with the control of Pudilova. Okay, so I actually kind of agree with what you're saying a little bit in that the first half of the round, I was even in our group chat, I was like, man, she's just like laying and praying. But again, it's a 5-minute round, and that last, I think it was like 2 minutes where she moved into some dominant positions on the ground and started landing from the top. To me, that swung the round back in her favor. I do agree that the first couple minutes, Edwards was actually looking decent, especially on the feet, but on the ground, it was a different story. Edwards has good striking, man. I'll say that too, Marcel. Very good striking, but the ground game's just not there at all. Grateful Dude hated the scorecard. Juan hates the new damage over control judging. I mean, first off, everyone keeps saying it's new. It's not fucking new. It's been around for a few years now. It's not new. I'm not saying you, Juan, but everyone's always on Twitter, the new scoring rules, the new judging criteria. This is not new. This has been around for a few years now. It's not brand new. It's not like it happened, a few weeks ago, a few months ago, even last year. It's been a few years. I do think that it was a necessary thing to put into the rules because especially in the early 2010s, you had a lot of lay and pray fighters, Marcel, that would just hold the guy down, and a lot of guys were winning that way. It was not fun to watch. They had to. It's kind of like baseball, right? Like in baseball now, they're changing the rules to make it more exciting. They had to kind of do that in MMA too because you had guys just holding someone to the ground for 3 rounds and winning a split decision or whatever, right? You don't want that necessarily. But again, when you're moving into dominant positions, when you are using those positions to land strikes, that sways you the round, in my opinion. In a fight where the striking is competitive. A couple other comments. Joe hated the decision. He thought, you said you got a gift. Excuse me. I read Juan and Joe's comment at the same time. They won't do a rematch. I do think Dana. I think someone asked them if they're going to give her their win bonus. They should, but I doubt they will. Marcel, personally, I doubt it, but they should. What did she make? 20,000 maybe? It's not much.
Something like that. I would think. Yeah.
What did she? Okay, actually, did UFC 278 have salaries? I think it did. Maybe right, that card in Utah. Oh, it did. Yeah. Let me see what she made. Hold on. I think she made 20 and 20. Lucia Pudilova, 23 and 23. Come on, they can give her an extra 23 grand. That means nothing. That's like a hand in blackjack for Dana, dude. And she missed weight. She was a fighter that missed weight, Marcel. That's gave her 20% of her purse. So, yeah.
Yeah, we had to fucking wait for 30 minutes, especially for her.
And I messaged you, and I was like, dude, she's going to miss weight. I think she's going to come in at 137. I called it. Did I not predict it? Tell the people.
Yeah, you called it perfect.
I think she came back and took her.
Yeah, 136 and a half. Yeah.
The other one was weird. I think Matthias Nicolau, he stepped on the scale at 137, and then 127. Took his underwear off and was 126. It was.
You saw? Did you saw the thing moving where the box moving? I think he was holding on.
Yeah. Must have been because I'm like, how did he lose a pound by taking his underwear off? Like, what's he wearing? Like steel underwear? Like, what the fuck? So. That was kind of crazy.
Yeah, he has to. He has to from Luana. She doesn't go anywhere with him without the steel cup on.
Oh, really? Just kidding. Luana, man, she looked good too. Her hair looks really nice, by the way. I like Luana, even though I don't think she won her fight. You have anything else to say about this card, man? I mean, we went about an hour here. It was a good card. It was a good card, right? Like,
yeah, it was okay. I give it a 7, 7.5.
That's what you give? Yeah. I kind of agree completely. I would give it like 7.5. I think that's a really good, fair score for this card. We always give our score after the cards. Let's get some comments here on PFL. We're actually going to go talk about PFL right now, Marcus. So let's get into it, Marcel. I do want to talk about this card with you. We'll just do it briefly. PFL 2023 recap here, guys. I think that they fucked up with the matchmaking here. Like Shane Burgos is an exciting striker. You could have given anyone in the card, including Clay Collard was right there. That would have been the fight of the year, maybe. And they can still do it next. I get it, but like, you gave him the hardest grappler. They gave him the champion right off the bat after you signed this massive deal. He could have fought this Yamato, Nishikawa guy. Very durable dude, obviously. Not a bad young fighter, but like he would have beat him. So he gets the hardest path. And now, Marcel, he has to finish his next fight to get into the playoffs now. He has to. He's in a tough spot. They're probably giving that guy. To be honest, they might give him to try to finish him. I can see the matchmaking. The more I think about PFL, I do like the concept about, tournament earning it. I think that, they're doing some really good things, with the smart cage and stuff. It's interesting, but the whole matchmaking process doesn't make sense for this because it's a tournament. So you're picking the matchups you want though, right? So like, I don't like that. Like I saw someone saying they should draw the names out of a hat or something.
Yeah, I like that much more if they do that.
They should do it publicly. They should have a live stream so everyone can see this because I don't think it's fair right now, Marcel, to be honest with you. So I understand what injuries could happen and someone would have to fill in. That's fine. But like in general though, like I didn't like the matchmaking here and we both thought Burroughs would win, but we're wrong because number one, moving up in weight. Number two, taking on the champion. Number three, fighting a guy with great fucking grappling. And Mercier looked good in this fight, man. I got to give him credit. He did what he had to do. This is just a bad loss for Shane. The good thing is he's bouncing back. He could bounce back in June because he'll fight again very soon. But, yeah. Anyway, I know you're a big fan of Shane. I think you guys are, I think you'd say, you're pretty close with the guy. But
yeah, I'm good with him.
He didn't look good, Marcel. He didn't.
So I feel like Aubin Marseille looked good in the first round, even standing,
Yeah, yeah, he did.
And yeah, and the second, third round, he really went to the grappling. And he almost in the third round, he was 2.5, 3 minutes on Shane's back, and Shane couldn't get him off. Was super frustrated. Finally got him off 15 seconds before the end of the round, and he did even the damage after that, those 15 seconds, because he opened the cut on Aubin Marseille. Yeah, man, tough fight for Shane, tough loss. I talked briefly to him after the fight, and yeah, obviously he's super upset, and he's not particularly upset with Aubin Marseille, but how the fight went, that he didn't cut him off him, and that he didn't put anything going earlier, And yeah, listen, man, his mindset. He wants to get the finish in the next fight, and he's hoping for Aubin Marseille in the finals. That's how far he's already thinking, and he knows he has to finish in the next fight. So yeah, we'll see, man. I mean, Aubin Marseille, Burgos, I would say probably the best two guys in the division, in my opinion.
And they have to fight in the first round. It doesn't
Yeah.
like in the first fight. It doesn't really make sense, right?
But another guy coming from the UFC who lost in the PFL in his debut, man, there are so many,
Yeah, there's a lot. There's tons.
Yeah.
There's tons. And OEM, to be fair, is a former UFC fighter too.
Yeah, true.
Half
But
the
I
card
mean,
is former UFC fighters, Marcel. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
half this card, the guys were in the UFC.
Where
Let's go kick in the comments, and we'll go quickly through the PFL card. We'll spend too much time on it. PFL dropped the ball. I agree with this guy. I could Marcus, I should say this guy. I agree with what you're saying, Marcus. Yeah, I mean they're spending a lot of money on these guys too, and girls. What's up? Lines on Nickel Gore. I mean, Nickel's going to be. I think he'll be a pretty decent favorite, like minus 500, maybe a little bit more. It's like minus 2,000, minus 3,000 usually. Brewers can knock out Seawood. Maybe, yeah, they could do that fight, but I think they're going to do the Nishikawa guy instead. Right, Marcel? Wouldn't you think the guy that Clay Collard styled on for the most part? That fight.
Yeah, you would think, listen, man, they invested a lot in Shane Burgos, so they definitely wanted to go have him go in the semifinals,
How much is Shane making a fight? Do you have any idea?
A lot. He did. I'm not going to ask him, I don't. I think that's
obviously 6 figures. Obviously.
He makes a lot because he said like he is set for life after 2 years in PFL.
Yeah, so. I heard him say that too. Like the other thing I'm thinking is, Dana White actually came out and said like we actually called Shane, or I think Shane made it like Dana personally called him. Like I don't think the UFC wanted to lose him, but he just got such a big offer that like they're like, okay, you should take the. They probably told him like you should take the deal.
The thing is like. Normally when your contract is over, you have to wait for 2 or 3 months before you can negotiate with the other party.
Yeah,
I think Shane reached out to Shelby if he could negotiate with the other party earlier, and I think they allowed him to, and I don't think Dana knew. Yeah, I think Dana didn't know about it, So
he didn't know about that. Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I do remember Dana said he was pissed at Sean Shelby. Now that I think about it. Yeah, he was like, "Why did we do this?"
Yeah, and PFL came up with a better. And actually, Shane got an offer from PFL like 2 years ago already to get in the tournament. And I know he showed me they even had artwork ready for him if he wanted to go there. And he was still like, "I want to be a UFC champion," And this time, his management asked him, "Are you a UFC fighter? Or are you a prize fighter?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm actually a prize fighter. I have a family as well. I got 2 daughters, a third one coming." So I have to provide, So he went to the PFL and he got a much better contract. He's like, he also has in his contract that he can be like in the at the desk or the commentary position at a certain time when he wants, So that's all good, So for him, he's pretty much set, and that's very important for him,
Fair enough.
Obviously, would be for us as well.
Yeah, for sure. A couple of comments: where the damage or control judges when we need them? I don't know. Olivia Mercier having that GSP connection helps. Yeah, for sure. Actually, I was talking to my friend about this. We're like, what fighters are still from TriStar, like in the UFC? Because it used to be like one of the biggest gyms. What, OAM and Amon's a hobby? Is that it? I think, right? Is there anyone else? Oh, no, Arnold Allen, obviously. That's it. That's it, though, right? I can't think of anyone else. You used to have GSP, you had Rory, you had a bunch of those French Canadian guys.
Was that Joe Meunier also not from there?
Jonathan Meunier? Maybe. Yeah. Jonathan Goulet was there. I know he was there. Former.
The Road Warrior.
The Road Warrior, yeah. Is that it? Oh yeah, sorry. The other fights in PFL, I should say. That was the other thing. No, I mean, we were going on quite a bit in this card. But I guess we enjoyed that card more than we thought, Marcel. Maybe we should raise it to an 8. Just a couple other fights here. Clay Collard looked great. Dennis Goltsov destroyed Cesar Ferreira. Why is he fighting at heavyweight? That's fucking stupid. Carlos Leal, great knockout over David Zawada. Magomed Umalatov, a guy I know you like, Marcel. You're high on him. Knocked out Delano Taylor, the post bang. He sent him a letter, gave him a knockout. So bad.
I thought I was here for the bad jokes,
I
dude.
know, right? So stupid. All right, so that was like the prelims, I guess, or the main card. I don't even know what you want to call it. And then they did all the other fights after that. It's fucking
Yeah.
weird the way they did this. Nathan Schultz defeats Stevie Ray, looked good. Zach Juicela pulled off an upset over Brandon Jenkins. Brandon Jenkins, not very good fighter. No offense to this guy, but again, they call him a human highlight reel. He's good for a knockout here and there, but yeah. Bruno Miranda defeats Ahmed Amir. Don't know a lot about those guys. Naib Lopez defeats Shane Mitchell. Again, don't know a ton about those guys. Roush Banfield, Marcel got the winner of Alex Martinez. I think we both called him. He was the underdog. What? Why was he the underdog? Makes no sense. No, makes no sense. That was a bad line. Magomed Karamov, and probably the favorite against Ben Eagley, knocks him out, look great. And then Saturday BC, your boy Marcel, the Swedish Denzel Washington, gets the knockout win in the main event. Or I don't know if it's a main event. I don't even know what the fuck you want to call it. The postlim. Main event of the postlims. Why did Ray Cooper not fight this season? Do you have any idea, by the way?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Because I think Magomed Karamov is the favorite, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he
should be.
Should be. Yeah. All right. Anything else? Juicela and Jenkins. Yeah, it was a decent fight, but like Jenkins is. Man, I was tweeting in the chat. I mean, again, in the Discord, and again, no offense to him, but he was kind of like a punchy bag, especially in that first round, just kind of standing there eating shots. I guess his game plan was to survive and then come back late or something. I mean, that's not a really good game plan. All right, that's it. 1:15, Marcel. We got to get out of here. So that's it for this one. We're gonna get to the next podcast right away, guys. We're gonna preview UFC Vegas 71. Just want to thank everyone again for joining the show, Marcel. It's always fun to do it with you here Monday evenings. But yeah, again, guys, just give us a few minutes. I'm good. Going to get the next podcast set up, and we'll talk to you guys in a few. Okay, bye.